Hello. I think this is now working. This is Nish Kumar doing an Instagram live. At some point I'll be interviewing Hasan Minhaj, the brilliant comedian from America. And to be quite honest with you, I am relieved that this is working, because I've never instigated an Instagram live before. I don't think the verb is to instigate an Instagram live. I don't think you say to someone, "Hello, I am instigating an Instagram live." It feels like instigate is probably a verb you reserve for a coup d'etat, not, a sort of friendly conversation between two comedians about doing stuff. Lots of people reassuring me in the comments that things are working and everything is going to be fine. So I've never done one of these before. I did a test one at 8 o'clock and it seems to have worked. And sort of judging by the immediate reaction, it seems like people are actually online and engaged with it. The purpose of this is really just to talk to you about the fact that I'm doing a show on Quibi called Hello America, which is on Tuesdays and Fridays. And also, off the back of doing that show, I am trying to parlay that into talking to people that I would like to talk to about their work, because I think they're exciting and interesting people to talk to. It's kind of weird that we've all just ended up sort of having to broadcast from our houses. This is the room that we made the MASH Reports, the BBC show that I do, from this room. And it is a shame because when I had a professional camera crew in here, it definitely looked a lot better. I mean, I didn't have a camera crew. We had a camera that I had to turn on. Right now, this has the production values of a sort of mid-2000s Bin Laden VHS. Like, it's that level. It feels like a self-made ransom video. But yeah, so this is the kind of setup. We've got a sort of stark white wall. And so hopefully at some point Hasan will appear and I'll invite him into the chat. I hope you're all doing okay, and that your mental health is well, and that your physical health is well as well. I guess it's sort of been a vaguely terrifying year that seems to be getting scarier. It's been a strange week in the UK, because it's becoming increasingly apparent that our government doesn't seem to quite have any idea of what's going on. And kind of the low point of all of it is the fact that they've miscounted the number of people that have COVID because of an Excel-based error. So the British government is now refusing to take responsibility for mistakes it's made on Excel, and as such has now become me at my temp job in 2011, just making basic administrative data cock-ups and then refusing to take the barest minimum of responsibility. And also, Boris Johnson went on television last week and he seems to have no clue what any of the regulations are. But what he is very clear on is if you break one of them, you will get fined. So, it's very exciting. Some of my friends have appeared. There's old Nikesh Shukla. I texted Nikesh and said, I'm absolutely dreading this because I've never done one before and I don't understand it. And I think he is logged on like a semi-ashamed uncle, just to try and make sure that I'm still alive. I'm here. It's okay. Everything is fine. I don't really... Oh, God, there's loads of comments here. Good Lord. Okay, I think it stopped scrolling, and now there's absolutely loads of people who have said all sorts of things. Good Lord. Okay. Yes, good evening, everybody. Nikesh, please don't go. I need you to stay through this entire process just to make sure that I don't mess this up. Someone has said live from the lovely Fritzl compound. Okay, we are above ground. Okay? I know that this is not the most glamorous of settings. We are not... we're not that bad. We're not in that bad a situation. I will also answer any of your questions that you have. Someone called Hairy Scary Man has asked if I will marry their chinchilla. No, I will not. Tom Searle says 4 out of 10 so far. Tom Searle is someone who's regularly booked me for gigs and is a friend of mine. So in a way, my poor performance is a burn on him. I just got a new chair, which makes me feel very swish and very powerful. This cat here behind me that says "stay indoors" and is hanging off of it. That is a piece of production art from when we made the 6 episodes of the MASH report that we made from in this room. That happened when the BBC somewhat unwisely just left me with a professional camera crew and let me film some stuff from my house, which was fine. So anyway, they made this fun little stay indoors thing, which is very fun. I haven't just moved in, but I like to keep this. I like to keep this wall relatively stark. Oh, hang on a second. Let's see if we make this work. Oh my god! I'll be honest with you. If this works, it's gonna blow my mind.
Hey.
Oh my god! Yes, I am.
What's up, dude?
I don't think I've ever been this relieved to see a brown man. I include every member of my family in that.
Right.
How are you?
I'm good, man. You know, I'm contractually obligated to talk to every single Indian late night host.
Yes.
So as soon as we're done with this, I gotta call Cal.
Yeah, of course. And then at some point, we all get together and we get the pieces of the amulet that we all have, and we stick it together.
Yeah, we snap our fingers together like Brown Thanos.
And then Fisher Stevens from Short Circuit appears.
He appears. Yeah. With our powers combined, Fisher Stevens appears. How the hell are you, man? You good?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks so much for doing this, Hasan. I really appreciate it.
Come on, man.
How are you? How is it going?
That's such a loaded question, Nish. I mean, come on, you don't got to bury me with the first one. I'm doing okay, man. Actually, all things considered, my sister got married. It went just this past weekend, so I was with the family. That's a whole nother one-man show. With the family, I'm super happy. I have a brother-in-law now. It's a very weird thing when you meet your younger sister's brother-in-law. You have to be like, "Welcome to the family. I love you," but also like, "I kind of want to kill you."
You have to give him the eyes.
Yeah.
Give him one of these.
Yeah.
No fucking around. How's the wedding?
It was good, man. I think it was one of the cool things that we did with Indian weddings now is because of COVID, you have to just cut down the guest list.
To cool sort of 150.
It was dude, it was 100 people. I've been talking to other people about it. Other people, white people, and they were like, "How many people was it?" And I was like, "It was real intimate. It was 100." And they were like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Heads had to roll. You know, everybody couldn't be a part of it. A lot of people were hurt. 100 people."
I have been to white weddings that I've been assured are like big weddings, and it's looked like one of my fucking Edinburgh shows in 2013. Like it really is like. You're like, where are all the people? I've been to weddings where I have not known the name of both the bride or the groom. Like, you just get taken to like, this is someone your grandfather like
totally
drank whiskey with in 1958, and now
your mom's like, "Get dressed at 5 o'clock," and you're like, "Why?" And like, you're going to this wedding with me. You're like, "Okay." There's so much like pomp put into other weddings where it's just like you have a role, you have a table, you have to be. I'm like, dude, you just pull up, you just show up.
You just hang around at the back. You stand in that long ass like greeting line.
Yep. You take your picture. You take your picture underneath like camp lights, and then you get in a buffet line, and you just kind of just like look around, and I hope you recognize somebody that you went to high school with.
My family's from Kerala in South India, and we've had to import fun wedding stuff from other bits of India, because like a traditional Malayali wedding is like, it is an administrative procedure.
Oh,
like,
really?
It's an administrative procedure. Like they are, no one is there. They're like, you get married, right? Let's eat. And then there is a kind of stampede for an admittedly delicious buffet.
Yeah.
But we've had to like import all these kind of fun traditions, because otherwise our weddings are just fucking depressing.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking to Prashant about this. He's like a really good friend of mine. We co-create. We work together a lot. And he was like, dude, us South Indians, man. He's like, we're very, very well put together. Like we're not like Punjabi, Gujarati, fun-loving. Like no. There's parliamentary procedure. There's a lot of rules. And I was like, rules? Like, wait, what?
Oh my God. We are serious people. And because
very
of
buttoned
that,
up.
we don't know how to conduct ourselves. Like, luckily my dad does not know how to use technology, so he'll never know that I told you this story. But about 10 years ago, my dad, like, so he would be like in his 50s, went to a Punjabi wedding and like didn't know how to conduct himself to an extent. He got so drunk, he was sick on himself during the ceremony.
Nish, I thought you were going to be like, dude, my dad showed up to this wedding and like he just disappeared and we had to find him. Like you had to recreate The Hangover, but in Kerala. You're like, look, Dad's missing and we got to find him. For whatever reason, you run into Mike Tyson with a tiger, you know, just cuz.
Mel Gibson's there in the sequel because we still haven't found him after the first one. He got away from us.
Hey, so wait, I've been meaning to ask you, man, how does this is a thing that host to host you only get it when you've hosted a show. How is the show going?
The show is going well, I think. Like, I think I've got it's like once you start these things, you don't really have like a huge amount of, I don't know if you found this, but once you start these things, like you don't really have a huge amount of time to like reflect on how it's going. You're just desperately trying to survive like week to week. Yeah.
How many days a week are you?
Well, we're on 2 days a week, but it's like a 5-day a week writing schedule. But the interesting thing that we're having is that I would say Friday, Sunday, and Tuesday are being rendered useless by the pace at which this motherfucker is moving. Like, he is... Like we try and plan stuff out and you try and have stuff ready. And then, you know, we found out about the COVID diagnosis, like on set. We had an episode that I was about to film and they were like, he's got COVID.
And then did you have to rewrite that cold open where you're like, well, we got to address this.
Yeah, you can't, it would look like we'd like temporarily vacated to another planet if it was because I mean the thing is we're in London and we're talking about the like arseholes. We're like talking about American news, not even having the decency to be in America. What is it like at the moment, like being in it?
Well, it was really interesting in the sense that during COVID, we're all experiencing it through our phones and through like the internet, and then being in New York when it first hit in March, that was really trippy. That was just the surreal, like, what's happening outside. There was an outbreak on the block. Like, there was an outbreak at CBS across the street, at 60 Minutes next door. My newborn son was just born. It was just a very surreal, weird time. And so there was a few weeks where it was like, I am legend status, where people were just like, all right, find a bandana or a blanket, put it over your mouth and send the person in your household who you like the least to go get milk. Like it You know what I mean? Remember that like window between like March and April where it was like, hey, who has a hazmat suit? We all were like open micing public health. It was just an open mic. Like some of your friends were like, "Oh, you have to wipe down your groceries," and then people were like, "No, it doesn't. Germs aren't on the groceries." And people were like, "You fucking idiot! You got to wipe down your groceries." Like, remember that? There was this like 2 or 3 month window where everybody just had a theory.
Did you do what I did and regret every choice you'd ever made in your entire life? Because I suddenly was like, I have no skills. Like in a situation like this, where we're all like trapped in our houses and we might be about to go full I Am Legend. Like,
Yeah.
No one wants me to do a tight 5 about like growing up with my crazy Indian parents like that.
Yeah.
No,
you know what, dude? I don't know when was the last time you got on stage? It's so great that you have a show, because for me, what I realized, I'm so desperate now, dude. I'm doing comedy shows on rooftops. The other day I did it in the middle of a horse racing track. Not joking. I went to New Jersey. Me and Mike Birbiglia did stand up, and Chris Gethard did stand up comedy in the middle of a horse racing track in Jersey. Like, I was that desperate.
I'll say it. That's a good bill. You, Gethard and Birbiglia, that's a strong bill, man. Race
man.
No track. I'm buying a ticket for that.
And dude, in the green room, we were all just like, "You're going crazy, right?" And we're all like, "Yeah, man, I need this more than ever."
I did an open air show. Didn't you when you walked into the green room, I was a bit like the first day back, like I was so excited to see my friends in a green room setting and just
totally
talk shit backstage.
It was great, so man. Fun. It was. I'll take anything. It's so funny that it's just brought us all back to being open micers. But I just realized, I'm like, dude, I need this human connection more than anything.
So I mean, would you like to be doing stuff now and talking about it now, or do you think there's a part of you that's a bit like, actually, this is so heavy and so relentless, and now the election is kind of ratcheting up, so there's these two kind of parallel wheels that are just spinning at the same time? Do you feel, is there a part of you that's like, I would like to sit this one out just for a couple of months?
Yeah, you swing between both. There's part of me that's like, oh, what's great about the show and what's great about your show is it forces you to unpack and process how you're feeling. So you're able to like put your perspective on wax, put it on a shelf, and then move on to the next thing. It's actually kind of in a weird way, it's the kind of a way we cope through the comedy. And then there's other times where I'm like, whoa, wait, his tax returns and he got COVID, that happened the same week?
That was it was, the tax return was, it was like Sunday to Friday. Those were two, like, these are presidency enders.
And then they're back, and then he's back by Monday. So you have to be like, it's just, that's the tough part. How many people are you working with? Like, how big is your team right now? Was it weird launching a show during COVID?
Yeah, it was weird. It was less weird because before I did this show, I do a BBC show in the UK that's like a kind of our version of like a late night thing. But because it's a BBC show, we only do like 6 episodes a year. So we did like our 6 episodes right before it. And I had to film it in this room.
Why do they do that? Wait, Nish, is that like some like European work-life balance type stuff?
No. Yeah. And you know what? That's exactly the sort of shit we've Brexited out of, Hassan. Okay? That's exactly the kind of employee rights nonsense we don't want to be part of.
Brexit was all about working your ass off and not having health care. That's what we voted for.
Brexit was about 25 episodes. Brexit was about getting friends in the UK. That's what we've been trying to get.
That's what about.
The EU has been holding us back from having a blockbuster 90s sitcom.
Right. We want everything you have in America. College debt, shitty health care, freeways that make you go, what the fuck? LaGuardia Airport. We wanted all of that here.
We want the military-industrial complex, and we want the Big Bang Theory, and we want it now. And that's what it's always been about.
Yeah.
So we made those 6 episodes from this room, because it was week 1 of the lockdown. So a man came in in full
hazmat
PPE,
suit.
but But the first time I saw a guy in it, because it was the week before the full lockdown, and he like disinfected camera equipment outside my house in the street. My neighbors don't understand what I do, Hassan. They think I'm a pornographer. But like he disinfects his camera crew, and then we shot it from in here. So now, once we started the show up, we're still doing all the writers' rooms and the production stuff on Zoom. But then we get to go into the studio to do it, which is
great.
I think I would have really struggled like launching a new show in my weird spare room. I would have felt really weird. At least this was a show where like we've been doing it for 5 years, so we could take it into take it into that thing.
Is the format is the same as what you were doing on the BBC show?
Yeah, except it's about, with the BBC show, we have Desiree Birch is an amazing American comedian who lives here now, talk about American stuff, but otherwise we really try not to touch American stuff at all, just because like the reason that show exists is because there isn't one in Britain. So, and it's not like Britain is short of absolutely irresponsible criminals running the country. So it would be, so what the shift for me is then like, with this show, we're just focusing on America, and we're just sort of, we thought we'd be talking a bit more about like this. There's like some really interesting overlaps between the UK and US, particularly since 2016. The kind of movements that have been happening in both countries,
right,
are kind of, there's something. So we thought we'd be talking a lot about that. But to be quite honest with you, once you he like sucks you into an orbit, and you're just running around him. Like there's something about the way that he's like commands the news cycle. Like, are you sick of people? Because I'm sure you must have got this. Are you sick of people going, dude, Trump is so good for he's so good for comedy, right? Like you guys
I don't think the people that ask you that, they also don't understand hacky material.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
If something is so commonplace, then your take or perspective on it becomes you know what I mean? It's hack.
Yeah. You have to work 3 times harder to find an angle, because, you know, it's like I was at the Daily Show during the Obama presidency, and your take, your perspective, your way in to even roasting the party that's in the White House, it's interesting. It's like it's, you know what I mean? It feels subversive right now. Nah, not really. So, I mean, for you, was one of the things that I got asked all the time was, hey man, this must be so great for material. And I'm like, hey, look, when he came down the escalator in 2015 and 2016, it was like, it's really great. Like, we're getting such great footage. Now, yeah, it just feels a little hack. And I would rather have to work harder for jokes and be able to go outside and like send my daughter to school than and not have to do stand up.
You know what I mean? And then just be able to like make Trump got COVID jokes.
I remember seeing you do a piece on the Daily Show not long after, where like about the Muslim ban stuff. And one of the things that I loved so much about it was like, I really loved you didn't try and hide the hurt. And, you know, you could really, I really liked, and this sounds like such a weird thing to say to somebody, but I really appreciated seeing you like genuinely feel the emotions of somebody, like someone of a Muslim background living in America and like dealing with that kind of stuff. Like, do you feel like an extra sense of responsibility in some ways to like represent people's experience because you're not one of the, you know, 700 white dudes who are all great, but who all have their kind of opinions aired on the telly?
Yeah, man. I mean, and you get this. It's one of those things, the reason why we even got into this whole thing, this business and getting on stage and trying to tell jokes and stuff, is because we feel like we had a unique perspective or a unique thing to say. So for me, it wasn't so much as contrived. It's just like, hey, this feels really honest in the moment. And when I did that chat with Trevor on the show, November 4th in the States was just a very weird day. And it really was this kind of reset moment in 2016 where it's like, oh, these are the rules. This is what it is now. This is kind of what we're about. And I think it was just my way of kind of making sense of all of that. So depending on what the story is. Look, I did a story about a deer that got really high in Oregon, and it was about weed legalization. So depending on the story, man, it's gonna impact the jokes per like serious ratio. You know?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I love I really enjoy the way that you balance those like lighter moments, and then because then one of the other things that I absolutely loved was what you said about anti-blackness in South Asian communities after George Floyd,
Right.
because it felt like it was one of those great moments where you're like, yeah, this is a conversation that we need to have, and
Yeah, it was just like, dude, you've been on WhatsApp. You're part of the six threads
yeah,
that are like in our
100,
there's six threads that are running in all of South Asia in the world. So
yeah,
you're on one of them.
yeah,
So it was just one of those things where I'm like, look, I'm gonna basically take the living room and make it public. Like I'm just
yeah.
gonna take this out of the living room and make it public.
It felt really important to air. I was so impressed and like happy that you aired our dirty laundry in that moment, because like kids like us who like grew up totally like we invented cultural appropriation. People are culturally appropriating cultural appropriation from us.
Right.
Nobody has
Right.
appropriated more culture than
Yeah.
South Asian kids from Black American culture
Dude,
in
it's
the
it's
90s.
70% of my it's 70% of my personality. I mean, what are we talking about here, man? Every
I,
every brown dude you see with a lineup, I mean, it's like we owe it to the black community and the Puerto Rican community. Are you kidding me?
I'm standing on a rug that my girlfriend bought me for my birthday. That's like a
Uh-huh.
recreation of the CD of Outcast's "The Love Below." Like
Oh my
I
god, yeah,
like
yeah. Come on.
it blows my mind that we could be so sort of obtuse about
Sure.
like taking stuff from the black community and then still like indulging in sort of anti-blackness. But you
Yeah.
know, and the great thing about Patriot Act was the fact that you like were able to take like when you were sort of conceiving of that show, did you deliberately try and avoid getting stuck in the sort of orbit of Trump and try and take a step back and try and look at things that you were passionate about? Because I think one of the great things about that show is I think it's going to age extremely well. You know, I think lots of topical stuff just gets churned over, and like, you know, if you watched an episode of you know, the Daily Show from the like mid 2000s, you'd be like, you know, I don't know who
You're
any,
like
this was
who?
brilliant at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
who any people are. Do you think
Hmm.
did you have half an eye on the fact that these shows are now on Netflix forever, or was it something where you just thought, you know, I just need to take a step back and look at these bigger picture issues?
Yeah, man. I mean, we knew that it was going to be on Netflix forever. I knew Netflix shows don't last forever. I was right about both of those things. And I was like, it was like this, man. Like, and this is kind of why I wanted to do this with you, because you have your own show now. It was like, I need to say the things that I need to say because this is an opportunity to document it and to, for however long this lasts, this was my take and perspective on the world vis-a-vis my diaspora lens. You know what I mean? So I had to put my position about Indian elections on wax, Saudi Arabia, like, you know, China, Xi Jinping, all that sort of stuff, all these things that I had kind of been sitting on that could never get through the door while I was at the Daily Show. I was like, this is an opportunity on a global platform to talk about these things. And we've been talking about them for a long time, but they haven't been contextualized in this way before. So that was really the idea that I had.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you, how does it feel getting like starting to like properly build up a new stand-up show? That must be exciting, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that it's been weird, like when you work out, right? Like, don't you try, you want it to be in a club with like 100 people, right?
Yeah, of
50.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been tough, like in the sense that shows now like have like 30 people outside and like
Yeah.
figure it out. So getting that litmus test on like, is this working or is this not working, has been a little bit tougher. But people want,
Oh my God.
dude,
Yeah.
the audiences have been fucking amazing. Like I have never seen people be so grateful to watch me bomb
Yeah.
in my career.
I did a gig in July in a shopping centre car park, and you know, it was like a music festival stage, but then it was a car park, and people are like sat on picnic furniture or on the bonnets of their cars.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like people are just like, oh my God, we're outside. There's other people here. It kind of
So wait, are you sitting on, what I love about you guys out in the UK is every year you turn around a new show. So are you sitting on that new hour and you're like, hey, when am I going to do it? How?
I started getting the like bones of a new hour together in like January, because I just it's sort of what we all get told, right? Like, never let your stand up drift. Like, that's the one thing, because people always tell you when you start, like, TV stuff comes, TV stuff goes.
Yep.
You don't know when you're, you know, in this country, we've got so much insecurity because of the amount of our work that still is like focused on the BBC. The BBC is like under a huge amount of pressure, political pressure. It's had its funding very severely cut. So there's always this kind of thing in the background where you're like, keep the stand up going, keep the stand up going. But also, it is nice to just have something. Like, I love working on all the shows I got to work on, and like working with people and working in a writer's room. It's kind of like the thing you dream about doing when you're a kid. But sometimes it is so nice, that absence of having to explain what you're about to do to anyone is so liberating. Like, and just walking out on stage and knowing that the only person you're accountable to is the audience that paid to see you is
Are
very,
clubs going to come back pretty soon over there, or no?
Not imminently. No. We're in like I think we're probably on the verge of like another proper like lockdown.
Oh my
like
God.
our numbers are like I don't even know how to tell you this with a straight face, Hasan. Our case numbers are increasing, and they increased massively last weekend because the people at the government that are counting case numbers fucked up a CSV file by converting it into an Excel file. So it just lost like they lost 10,000 columns off an Excel spreadsheet. So like, everyone
it's an IT thing.
yeah, that's what happens when you have too many white people in government. I'll say it.
Hey, can I ask you a genuine question? What is it with both of our leaders in fucked up hair?
I don't know. I truly do not know. It is so interesting that like the common thread.
But for Boris, it's part of his brand, right? That's part of his. That was like, hey,
he's been
what's
around,
the selling point?
He's been like a sort of entertainment figure. I mean, there's huge overlaps between the two of them, but he's been like an entertainment figure since I was a teenager. Like, he would crop up on like comedy panel shows. Even, you know, he's an MP, and he would like crop up on comedy panel shows. And his thing was like, you know, like, I'm like Hugh Grant, like I'm this like lovable English posh guy, whilst at the same time writing newspaper columns for a conservative newspaper that were like incredibly reactionary and used really horrific racial epithets in the articles. You know, they're all still available online. So he was like this like, he was playing off these two sides of people, where he was like, I'm a lovable rogue, but also fuck foreigners. Like, he was sort of playing off both sides. So he built the hair into part of his brand. I guess, is Trump's hair like all of him? Isn't he sort of like it's just a leftover from the 80s, right? Everything is the 1980s with him.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I was just like, there's a wave now. Him, Boris, Zuckerberg. I'm like, what's happening? I don't know if you saw when Zuckerberg testified in Congress. I'm like, what is happening with the hair? Because that's a choice. If you're that rich and the hairline is that fucked up, that's a choice. It's a choice. You're saying something. And you're baiting me to not say something. Like, yeah, anyways, man, so how are you feeling as a boss? Is that a weird feeling?
It's a very strange feeling. Like, there's no, you understand Liz Lemon's struggle in 30 Rock. The second you start running, did you find that when you...
Nobody likes you. You're nobody's friend, Nish.
No.
Nobody likes you.
This is
The
why
writers
I
don't like
chat
you.
with you, Hasan.
The jokes. Why can't you deliver the jokes better? Why didn't you pick these jokes? Like, you realize I was like, oh, I'm the odd man out. I remember one time I walked into the writers' room, all the writers were laughing, and I walked in, I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? They immediately stopped laughing. And I'm like, oh, this sucks.
I'm doing it.
I remember being on the other side of that with Trevor and John. And we'd all be like, oh, shut up, shut up, shut up. They're coming right now. They're walking in right now.
Yeah, I do it on Zoom, so I'm able to like appear without the video.
Uh-huh.
So I can just listen. I can just creep on them having a good time before I have to pop in and be like, guys, no,
Right.
this jokes work.
Oh no.
None of these goddamn jokes work.
So
But
when is your next hiatus? When do you get to breathe a little bit? Because what people don't realize is you're sprinting. You are just running with bags. You don't get to look back. You are just running forward.
we go straight. We go right up until the election, and we finish at the end of November for the year. But we just go straight through. We just kind of, we just hammer it straight through. And so, we're just going to be hanging on for dear life to whatever the next phase of the election cycle throws up. Genuinely, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, I really, are you scared at the moment?
Look, I think just the boiling temperature, it's too high.
Yeah.
Like, there's such massive, and it's always been there, but just the cracks have been exposed in such a way that it's, at this point, it's untenable. Economic inequality is out of control. Stock market makes no sense. It's skyrocketing higher than ever before. You drive around major metropolitan cities, it looks like RoboCop. Like, people are struggling. People are in pain. Obviously, we're having a massive racial reckoning with criminal justice reform, police brutality, all that sort of stuff. And then third, there's just like this massive distrust with the media and government in a way that I've never seen it before. I mean, it was always kind of there, but like, conspiracy theories have been mainstream in a way now that I've never seen this before in my life. I don't know what to believe. You know what I mean? And changes fast.
Do you also like find? I mean, adding to the general atmosphere of insecurity, did you see even in the last couple of years, did you see a position where you would be in a position where like the president is threatening not to leave? Like, if he loses, he might not go.
Yeah, that to me is like some, third world African dictatorship. You know what I mean? Like, never seen something like that before where, so yeah, that to me is one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if this is tenable for another 4 years. I just don't.
Yeah. Can the country handle it? Listen, Hasan, I'm going to let you go because I've already taken up more of your time than you'd agreed to.
I have nothing but time. I'm just running away from my family right now. You're the one with the show, man. You're the one with the show.
2 questions for you before I let you go. One, how do you get how's your beard so orderly?
What I basically do, my cheat is, I'll start with what the barber does, and then I'll just honor the line that he created.
Honor the line that he created.
Yeah. I'm not gonna remix it. I'm not gonna go off. It's paint by numbers. You know what I mean? All I got to do is color within the lines. All right. What's the second question?
It sounds like it should be on a Christian fridge magnet. I will honor the line he created.
Honor the line, man. Honor it. No one shall pass.
My other question is: are we gonna be all right? All of us.
Dude, look, I'm gonna try to be optimistic. I think we're incredibly resilient people, humanity that is. But yeah, things are looking rough right now. I certainly hope so. We have no choice. We have no choice but to try to turn it around.
That is a perfect note to end it on. We have no choice but to try and turn it around, and also honor the line that he created. If people take away nothing else from this conversation,
listen to my barber Danny. Honor the line that he created, and we have no to turn this shit around. It's cool.
Thank you so much, Hasan. I'm a massive fan. And this
Thanks,
was a
man. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait. At some point, I want to see you with the mask on, and I just want to meet in person.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks,
All right,
Aslan.
brother. Peace.